Here we are, part 3 of the 12-part series from my book, Dance Like Nobody's Watching. It is the soul's journey to courage, authenticity, and self-love. And in my mind, it's probably the most important journey that any one of us could ever take. This week, or this day, this part is asking the questions that wake you up. The dance of self-inquiry and contemplation, asking the questions that lead you home. What do I mean by that? We can walk around just being in our normal state of functioning as much as we want. But if we want to function in a higher level, if we want to function more consciously, if we want to function at a place where we are actually engaged in life in a more powerful way, learning to ask ourselves questions is a really important thing. But these are the kind of questions, I'm going to be quick about this. These are the kind of questions that you might subconsciously be asking yourself without realizing. And it might show up more as a feeling than recognizing the inner voice. This is just some. What the hell is wrong with me? Why do I always do that? Why can't I get this right? Why am I always afraid? Why do I keep making the same mistakes? Sound familiar? I would think some of them sound familiar, and if not those, specifically others. Transformation and personal evolution is less about adding to us and more about taking away. So, what I am suggesting here is that we take away that cryptic, negative mind and series of questions that will lead our mind down the road towards something we don't want. Because every time we ask a question like that, our mind looks for an answer. It does. It looks for an answer. But let's pay attention to a different set of questions. And this is one to just get to know yourself better. These examples. When I feel resistance, what am I learning about my needs, fears, or desires? How can I honor the truth of my emotions while remaining grounded in my highest self? And again, all of these are from chapter 3, and these empowering questions are on page 86 in the book. What assumptions or beliefs am I holding right now that might no longer serve me? In what ways can I embrace the uncomfortable parts of this moment as an opportunity for growth? What am I afraid to look at within myself, and how might facing it bring me closer to freedom? So, if you hear some of these questions, and instead of having you feel poorly about yourself, it causes you to go deeper and say, wow, what do I feel about that? Let me tell you why this is very, very important. Very specifically, if you are a parent or a grandparent, and if we walk around unconscious, the inner voice still finds its way to express itself. And your children and your grandchildren don't just see you at face value, they sometimes see the things you aren't saying. And so I encourage you to wake up, to get aware of what's inside, and then most definitely to remember how often, or always actually, when it comes to children and grandchildren, who you are being is what they are sensing. So, do you want your legacy to be one of fear and negativity, or do you want it to be one of expansion and possibility? I'm going to assume you want the second part of it. So I invite you first, of course, to buy the book. It's available in Barnes and Noble and Amazon and other booksellers, and to read it. And a really good idea, find a friend to read it with. Create it as a book study. It's got powerful practices and prompts, and it will make a really great book study. All right, my friend, be well. I will see you again in a few days with part 4.